Alright, what's up yins guys? Time for another video, and this is another episode of a series that I rebooted from years ago that was long forgotten about, called the real life Yu-Gi-Oh games people play, and now at this particular era here, I jokingly open up the episodes with, does anybody actually play Yu-Gi-Oh anymore? But yet it's a very good metaphor for the games people play, and you can literally create the cards. And this one is a classic. Before I get on with this episode, this is a classic subject matter where some of yins guys, if you say that my videos are not very to the point and a lot of rambling, is there's a lot to this particular subject matter or Yu-Gi-Oh card, where in any video that you make, when there's so many parts and things that you could talk about in such a thing, I almost want to, instead of winging it and making a video, I almost want to have a piece of paper in front of me where you have the, what do you call it, subtopics written down, A, B, and all that. But of course I never do. I can probably do a better video. But the only reason I don't do that is it looks too much like you're parroting things off of a website or whatever, and the thoughts ain't your own. Although, if you will, I will reference honestly stuff, books that I've used, your thoughts being your own. And when your thoughts are your own, people will get pissed off. They'll have respect for you, or else they'll try to take apart everything you say. Oh, anyway, okay, without further ado, this one being the White Knight card, or the fake White Knight card. And talking in parentheses and getting to the point, I'm not saying that White Knights are bad. Some of them are good, but most of them are White Knight ulterior motives. White Knight gaslighters, and a lot of them are fake, and they do whatever to get laid or get the girl. And some of them, in a lot of situations, are like, once they get the girl, they're sponging off of the girl. Could be a single mother and kid that got divorced, right? And they just become sponging off of them, and they become a version of the motherfucker. The only thing they're known to approach, they can even be married guys approaching women's or girls with single mothers with babies to try to worm their way in. But they actually are abusers in a lot of cases. Once they move in with the girl, they've been even, some of them had a history of abusing women and children. For example, I always talked about how this book can be and should be rewritten. This fake White Knight or fake White Knight card that's played in this book, it dovetails into something called the Macho Man, which a lot of your fake White Knights, fake ass White Knights, no offense to the ones with good intentions, and I'll talk in parentheses too, some good White Knights are better off calling 911 in more serious situations, but that's not what this video is about. But also talking in parentheses, I would invite you to subscribe to a YouTube channel called They Will Kill You, which one of my requests for that YouTube channel, I'd like to give them a request and say, give them an idea for an episode called When White Knights Go Wrong. So if you look at that YouTube channel, They Will Kill You, the cautionary tale for the good, decent White Knight, which is off the subject, I make a total video about, that's all I'm going to tell you. But anyway, this book, some of the bad, shitty-ass White Knights, the fake White Knights, are dovetails in this book, talks about the Macho Man. Some White Knights are not born by the Macho Man. And this book talks about the Macho Man, very insecure, thinks he's God's gift to women. He does white knighting, but he actually abuses women and children, and all that jazz. I'd even maybe try not to make the video too long. I almost want to read you the little piece in there. But anyway, they're known, that Yu-Gi-Oh card is known to be played, say, back when some of us were even teenagers, there's many scenarios, but it gets older when these women and guys go to bars. Later on, it's a game played, but it starts out where one scenario. If any of you ladies are watching, maybe some of your nicer ladies that followed my fitness videos that are into fitness things. There's one type of white knight that will try the tricks. I remember this was done when I was a teenager. Say Joe and Jane, no problems right there. Whether it's a party when you're a teenager or any kind of gathering when you're older, is no fighting and no problems between Joe and Jane, but you get this dude that thinks he's going to get laid or whatever will come over there. You're trying to hit on Jane and try to create a bad situation for Joe, put in her head, like create a manufacture extra scenario that Joe is not treating Jane right, and Jane has no complaints, but he's trying to move in and put this idea forth to make Joe look bad because he might have been friend to Joe's at one time and both friend to Jane's at one time, and he's just trying to get laid, and he's trying to for whatever vindictive reasons and say he managed to break up the two. They're living together, right? He ends up abusing her, or if she has a kid, ends up abusing her, abusing the kid too if they have kids. But it can also be, in some cases, reversed. The male is mostly a white knight, but a lot of times as teenagers or even grown people do this too. Occasionally, you never call the woman the white knight, but there's a version of a thing where you get teenagers, in many races too, and different kind of people where the girl will, you don't call it white knightism, but girl trying to steal the guy. Well, this is done. There's these girls that come around, married guys in marriages. The woman that comes around that's the marriage destroyer will take advantage of every small situation, steal the married guy, and it causes trouble in the marriage or whatever, but just like a relationship wrecker, so to speak, but will come as a female version of the white knight, but it's actually looking to be a shit starter. But there's always, you gotta be aware, there's the phony white knight that's always looking to get laid, create trouble that isn't there, or isn't. It isn't always necessarily to steal any particular woman either, to make some person look bad or whatever. And this white knight will pretend to be feminist, but far from it. Like I said, abuses women, children. He'll actually, for example, never said the words that he was a feminist, but will pretend to be a protector of women, but was known to be in multiple relationships, living with multiple women, conceal the fact he finds another woman as a target. He'll conceal the fact that maybe he was in multiple relationships or marriages where he was had charges against him for abusing women or whatever the hell. And anyway, it's a card that is known to build up one. You also get the White Knight. If you've been this far in this video, you may be seeing documentaries or different things on TV where the White Knightism is also where you get these male scam artists to try to sweep a woman off her feet, meet them, so he can take all their money out of the bank and take off. The serial White Knightism is used as a charming tool in some cases. You got these men that are living it up on all the money they stole from these women, and professional male con artists. And if you've been this far in this video, I don't want to do it to make fun, but I imagine it's not a laughing matter, but a good parody for YouTube. Not to make fun of anybody that's the gay or the scenario or the, the trans scenario. But I imagine that, not to make fun of any of them or take shots in a bad way, but in that community too, it's probably done if somebody is, I don't know, gay or whatever in that community, and they want to make YouTube videos to parody such, but it's a serious matter too. It's not the straight relationship. Imagine the shit is done, in the gay community too, where one is trying to con the other out of money or make the other look bad. The white knight in the gay community being, and actually not really a white knight later on, an abuser or whatever the hell. If you want to say that, it goes there because of way different shit is being accepted into society these days. But I'm just saying that most of the white knightism was usually the straight community, the non-gay community. But I imagine you can imagine it goes on. That's what I'm just saying. But if you've been this far in this video too, it's just, I'm gonna redo this book. I had older videos where a place where I used to live before, where I used to read this, there was the air conditioning and the heating unit outside the building on the building I used to live. So the videos where why I read this book is crap. Too much background noise. I'm going to read this again, but I can read you a part of this book, the Principles of Bullshit. If you got this far in this video, this particular subject matter of white knightism, I'm going to read it because it's appropriate, because I did it on the white knight card. Principles of Bullshit. And I think it's appropriate, and then tell you I'm going to read this book separately, but Principles of Bullshit. Every bullshit situation involves a power transaction in which the perpetrator increases his power at the expense of the victim. Or, I actually, instead of victim, I like to say target, or person that the victim could be the person being conned, being targeted. And then there's usually expensive enough. But anyway, targeted, the power at every bullshit situation involves a power transaction in which the perpetrator increases his or her power at the expense of the victim. Even when there is not a material gain, the perpetrator still emerges with the advantage, psychological and emotional terms, which translate as power. Someone dominates, someone is dominated, someone intimidates, someone is intimidated, someone controls, someone is being controlled, someone's ego is enlarged, someone loses self-esteem, somebody wins, somebody loses. Okay, so that, to end this video, this is the perfect situation there. So, to end this video off, I'd say too, any of you good white knights out there, if you got married and you're doing real well, and it started out as a white knight situation, there's a thing where some white knighting for good reasons, you're better off calling 911 in the worst case scenario and other subject matter, because that could turn out bad too. I don't want to see that happen to you guys either, but